Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I realized as I was filming my handbag collection at the end of last year that I never gave you the updated story on this bag. And that's partially because I wasn't sure it was done. So I told you all about buying this on the RealReal and how disappointed I was about their return policy and that the handle was basically falling off. Like it was almost off of this bag. I took it to the Ferragamo brothers and they gave me a price that I don't remember, but it was like $500 to fix it. And that was just more than I wanted to spend on the bag. I'd already spent a few $100s on it on the RealReal, maybe $300 or $400. And I just didn't think it was worth that much investment. So I searched for places who recommended that they did vintage bags and vintage Ferragamo specifically, and I found one called Modern Leather Goods in New York, and it was not that far from Penn Station, so it was pretty easy for me to bring the bag in. So I sent them pictures originally, and they said, yes, we do those repairs, blah, blah, blah. And they gave me a quoted price, which was like $175 or something for a new handle. So like it was so much less expensive, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna take the chance. There are some good reviews, some bad reviews. The pricing is so much better, and I'm so disappointed with this bag right now, and I don't want to put a huge investment into it, so we're going to try that. So I brought this bag in, talked to them about it. They said, yes, we will replace the handle for it. And then I wasn't talking to the person that I'd done the original email with, so they told me that it was going to be, it was like somewhere between like $225 and $300 all told. So it was still quite a bit less. And now I'm remembering Ferragamo was like $550 or $600. Like it was something like that. And so this was still less expensive. It had been originally, I thought it was going to be like $175 to $200. So I thought it was going to be like way less than half of what the Ferragamo was charging, and then it was going to wind up being a little bit more than half. So yeah, they must have been right around 500. It must have been 500 to 550 for Ferragamo. So I was like, okay, it's still a good amount less, so I'm gonna go ahead and try it. I talked to the guy, and all was good. So I got the bag back, and one of the things that happened was that this side was like basically just falling off and just like a super big mess. But then there was this bend in the handle on this side. So the handle was a little bit wonky. If it had come like that to me from the RealReal, this would have been fine. I wouldn't have been worried about it. I would have just kind of let it go. This didn't really bother me that much. But I knew that they did not actually replace the handle. When they sent it back to me like this, I could see that they had just repaired it. You could see some of the stitching was a little bit different. It had already had that nick in the paint there. And then, but they'd done a pretty good job in terms of matching this part. And then the handle was pretty solidly on there. And I knew that they were going to try to save the original hardware. And if they'd said to me and they were going to try to save the original handle, I would have been like, yes, I want the original handle. I don't want a new handle. But I was just sort of annoyed because the pricing was to, get a brand new handle. So the handle was still broken when it came. So we wound up calling them, and we finally got back in touch with them. I sent an email, it never got answered. Finally called them and got in touch with them, and they said, oh, did they not actually replace the handle? Did they just fix it? Okay, send it back and I'll put it in your chart. So I decided to wait until the next time that I went into the city, brought it back in person, and he said, oh, yep, it's in the chart. We'll replace the handle. They said that repair would be free and they would send it back to me for free. Got it back. It was exactly the same. And they said, oh no, we have repaired the damage, so we didn't want to replace the handle, so we're not going to replace the handle. And I was like, okay, well, isn't that what I paid for? And they said, no, what you paid for was the repair of it was just the repair to the bag. Like we're keeping the original. And they just like didn't want to deal with it again. So I was like, okay, I'm like done with this. And so I was like, I'm just going to make a video about it, let you all know. Would I go back there? Probably not. Do I think a replaced handle would have made all of my dreams come true from Ferragamo Brothers? Like they would have done a beautiful job with it, I have no doubt. But I'm also glad I didn't put the money into it that way. I really haven't used this bag much. And what I've discovered about why is you can see that these are pulling up, and that is just kind of what happens with the way that this is designed. So because the handle is so big, the bag gets pulled up by the handle. You see what I'm talking about right in here? And then also the handle just kind of will naturally collapse because of the shape of it. These are helpful to stop it from collapsing, that bit of hardware, but the handle is just flimsy. Like, I mean, you can hear this part, but I don't know if you can hear it, like the leather like moves in a not great way. Like you can kind of hear it almost cracking. I'm like sure it's eventually gonna get the same damage that it did before right here. And I think that's just a bag design flaw. So I'm really curious, and I wanna go see some of the new ones in person and kind of play around with it. But when they've re-released this bag, have they fixed this issue? Or is this just because this bag is 30 years old and it's vintage and that's what happens? I don't know. But what I've discovered is I'm gonna carry it by the top handle, and I think that's fine. But using the crossbody strap just means you're putting pressure on the handle at an angle as it sits against your body. And I don't know if I'm ever really gonna carry it that way. I think the color is so stunning. It has been repaired. I don't know if I'm gonna hold on to it though. Like, I don't know if it makes sense at this point to sell it, because the investment that I put into it, I could probably get most, if not all of my money back. Or do I just like use it, and because it's this vintage classic, do I just keep it in my collection and use it a little bit? I have a few other red bags at this point, so I don't necessarily need another. But yeah, I'm just kind of like disappointed when I look at the bag. So I'm curious what your thoughts are. Should I hold on to it? Should I not? You know, the inside of it is still in great shape. Like there was nothing wrong with the inside of it. It's lined and everything. Like it's a beautiful bag. But what I did also just kind of realize is that as much as I love the classic design, I really love my black version of it so much more. The take on it that only came out a couple years later, just as this was gaining popularity. You know, the sizing of the black is just so great. It fits so much more. And then because it has this reinforced handle right there, I think it works better. And then the way that this can just kind of move along with it just means it's just more comfortable to carry crossbody and everything. So as beautiful as I think this bag is, I've always thought this one was so stunning, and I think it's just also more practical. So yeah, I'm curious if the newer one is better in that regard, or if it's just always going to be that case. And like, I love the like Gigancini design of the handle. You know, like I think it's such a beautiful bag. But yeah, I just feel like this needs to have like some kind of like D-ring or something here so that the handle can freely move to avoid that damage, you know, because it's always going to put pressure right on that little bit of leather. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in a future video. Bye.